Hello and welcome to Host Planet Bitesize, the podcast brought to you by Host Planet and Hostfully. My name's James Varley, the founder of Host Planet, and our goal is to share everything you need to know about buying and managing short-term rentals. Today's guest is Katelyn Almeda from Host with Kate, and she'll be sharing 5 tips to help you secure 5-star reviews on Airbnb. Look out for tip 1. It is packed with brilliant ideas to wow your guests. Okay, real talk now for all you hosts out there. You know that moment when your guest messages you again with, "Hey, what's the Wi-Fi code?" Or you're staring at 5 different calendars, wondering if you've accidentally double booked the cottage. Yes, we've all been there. That's why here at Host Planet, we recommend Hostfully. It's basically your rentals control center. It handles bookings across all the big platforms, syncs your calendars to ensure there are no double bookings, automates guest messages, and even creates these really slick digital guidebooks that stop all the repeat questions. Honestly, it just makes your life easier and keeps your guests happier, helping you achieve those all-important 5-star reviews. And here is a little bonus. If you're a Host Planet listener, you can get $500 off onboarding for Hostfully's property management software and 30% off digital guidebooks for life. Just hit the link in the show notes and use the codes PLANET500 for the PMS and HostPlanetGB for the guidebooks. And if you'd like a proper walkthrough, there's also a link to book a demo with Frank Bosey from Hostfully. He will show you how it all works. Less stress, more bookings, sorted with Hostfully. Katelyn, thank you for joining us on Host Planet Bitesize. You've got 5 tips to share on how to secure those all-important 5-star reviews on Airbnb. So take it away with tip number 1.
Awesome. So tip number 1 would be add cherry on top items. I call these my COT items. This is how you truly stand out. I always leave like a personalized note for the guests, allergy-friendly local snacks and coffee beans and dog treats if they're bringing a dog. Other easy cherry on top items are like fresh flowers in a vase on the dining room table or a small gift card to the coffee cafe across the street. Even something as simple as a video attached to your check-in message that introduces yourself and welcomes them to the space. What's interesting is that so many of my 5-star reviews specifically mention these little touches. And even if guests don't remember those little details, they will remember how welcomed and cared for they felt. And so that is my first tip.
I love those. Yeah, the COT, the cherry on the top of the cake items. Yeah, I think sometimes hosts, they don't know exactly what to leave. And I remember in our case when we started hosting, and often at the start we'd leave a bottle of wine or maybe a few beers, and then we found that not everybody wants a bottle of wine, and sometimes it gets drunk and all that kind of thing. So yeah. I think working out exactly what to leave and just, doing stuff that's thoughtful, that can really move the needle, can't you? And it makes guests think, oh, they've really thought about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I noticed the same thing. Like I was also leaving out wine at one point, and I also noticed sometimes people don't want to drink and they're like specifically staying away from that. So I've tried to find local snack companies that specialize in having products that are very allergy friendly also. So like vegan and gluten free and no nuts and all the things. I actually searched on ChatGPT specifically for this, and I found the company that I now work with. They're called Absurd Snacks. They're in Richmond, Virginia, where I am. But they're incredible. And now I work with them and they give me like awesome discounts on bulk, like little snacks that I can just leave out for each new guest that's coming in.
Your short-term rental business is evolving fast, but how do you keep up with the latest regulation, tax changes, and industry trends? The answer is to attend the Host Planet Roadshow, which is coming to a city near you in 2026. This is the UK's premier event for holiday let professionals, supported by the Short-Term Accommodation Association, Price Labs, and the Women in Short-Term Rentals community. This is your essential opportunity for learning, networking, and expert insight. Starting in Cornwall on the 5th of February, you'll spend a full day mastering compliance, optimizing your revenue strategies, and sharing lessons learned with your peers. After Cornwall, we'll be in Portsmouth on the 4th of March and London on the 23rd of April. That's the day after the Short Stay Summit. Later in the year, we'll be heading to Nottingham, Bath, Chester, and Edinburgh. So don't navigate the complex 2026 market alone. Learn from the leaders driving the industry forward and shape the short-term rental conversation in your market. Tickets are just £40 each and available now from our website. Head to hostplanet.club for further details. And I love the leaving a video idea as well, because this really personalizes the experience. And again, the guest is thinking, oh, they're really taking care of me here.
Yeah, so many people mention that specifically, and like bonus points if you want to create a personalized video for every guest that comes in. But I just have a general one that's automatically sent out with my welcome message. And like, not only is it helpful because I introduce myself and I show them how to, find their driveway and everything, but it also helps me come across as who I am, like an actual human being and not just an alien on the other side of the screen, a robot. So I think like that is an extra touch that people are like, oh, she's a cool person. I want to take care of her space. Like just seeing my face makes a big difference, it seems.
Yeah, humanizing the experience, and making people realize it's not a faceless company that's leading this property management business. It's actually a person who cares about the space. Yeah, brilliant. Okay then, Katelyn, so tip number 2.
Tip number 2 would be intentional with your design. So thoughtful design goes a really long way, and you don't need a huge budget for this, just intention. So make sure that the exterior and entryways are well lit, for example, or choose durable, easy to clean materials that hold up well for short-term stays. Decide on a color palette or a theme that helps your space feel cohesive. For decor, think secondhand finds like local art or unique pieces instead of generic decor from big box stores. Guests really want to feel like they're staying somewhere special and not cookie cutter. So, memorable spaces create memorable stays.
Yeah, great point. And I think as well, kind of advertise and promote your local area, be part of your region and your community. That's one thing that we've been speaking about. Our rentals are in Yorkshire and the north of England, and we've been thinking about how we can make it seem, kind of seamlessly be part of the local community, whether that's something that you leave or the pictures on the wall or whatever it is. You want people to feel as if they're part of the experience, where you are in your location. All right then, Katelyn, tip number 3.
Yep. All right. Tip number 3, don't rely on your cleaners for everything. I see this all the time. And, the cleaner's job is to clean. It's not quality control. So try to have a second set of eyes on the property between stays, whether it's you or a co-host or a trusted neighbor who can pop in. And I'm talking about things like, checking the batteries and replacing the light bulbs and setting the thermostat, making sure the TV is set to the home screen, or turning on the twinkle lights or the porch light if you know that the guests are arriving late. It's often these small details that can separate a 4-star stay versus a 5-star stay.
I think that's a really good point. And we had Sarah Karakayan on from Thanks for Visiting. Yeah. And she said one of the things which had made her reviews go up and up was making sure that the cleaner is not the last person to see the property, always having that final inspection. Because, it's, look, little tiny things, like you say, they just get missed now and again. And it is those annoying things like, the batteries have gone in the remote, where the guest's like, I'm a bit annoyed. I've just kind of like flopped out on the bed and I want to put the TV on. The batteries have gone, or the lamp doesn't work, or something like that. So yeah, having that extra layer of checking can be really, really important. Okay then, Katelyn, so tip number 4.
Yeah, okay. So these last 2 tips really apply to any business, but they're incredibly important. They really shouldn't come as a surprise. But my number, I guess, 4 tip is to see challenges as opportunities to go above and beyond. So this mindset shift is huge. Instead of seeing guests' requests or issues as annoyances, see them as a chance to really create a standout moment. So, for example, on a super hot day, last summer we brought over extra fans and popsicles for our guests. And they weren't complaining about it, but it was an opportunity for us to turn a potential discomfort into a really memorable experience. And they wrote about that in the review. So even if you don't live close by, you can still show up in these moments. Services like Walmart Plus or Shipped. I don't know what you guys have in the UK, but like a quick
Amazon.
Yeah, like something where if they need something, you can get it to them really quick. They, make delivering essentials quickly, easily. Those challenges are often where some of the best reviews are actually born.
Yeah, I love the popsicles idea there, really hot day, especially if it's a family traveling with kids, sending around some ice cream or some ice lollies, as we might call them over in the UK. Yeah, I think that's a really lovely touch. All right then, Katelyn. So tip number 5.
Okay, so tip number 5, communication is everything, as with anything that you do, right? So, your space doesn't have to be perfect. No one's expecting to stay at the Ritz unless that's what you're specifically marketing in your listing. But just be upfront about things like street noise or pets on the property or, any shared spaces. When guests know what to expect, they're far more forgiving and they're so much more appreciative. So transparency builds trust, and trust leads to 5-star reviews.
Absolutely. And in terms of communication as well, where do you stand on sending automated messages? I'm particularly thinking after the stay here, where you might be wanting to prompt the guest to leave you a review. And in relation to kind of like, it sounds a bit bad, but kind of like coaching people into making sure that they leave you a 5-star review or a good review, or that they understand the review system. What would your advice be there?
Different hosts have different advice here. What's interesting is I've actually never once asked for a 5-star review, and I have over 2,500 5-star reviews. I feel like if you just focus on giving the guest a fabulous experience, those reviews will naturally come. And even though I don't specifically ask, please leave a 5-star review, something I will say sometimes is, thanks for being a fabulous guest and leaving the space so clean. I will definitely be leaving you a 5-star review. And it kind of like puts it in their head, maybe I should leave her a 5-star review too.
Yeah, it's like a little nudge, isn't it? It's like a little nudge. 5-star. Brilliant. 5 fantastic tips there, Katelyn. I'm sure people in the audience will find them really useful. Just tell us about your platform, Host with Kate, where people can find you and how you help people.
Sure. Yeah. So Host with Kate's my business. I am a furnished rental host advisor. So I help new hosts get their spaces ready and onboard specifically to the Airbnb platform. I'm an Airbnb Superhost Ambassador. You can learn all about myself and my business and my services at hostwithkate.com and on social media at hostwithkate.
Fantastic. And we will put all those details in the show notes. Katelyn, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for joining us on Host Planet Bitesize.
Thanks so much for having me.
Great to chat to Katelyn Almeda there from Host with Kate. Remember, personalisation can be key when aiming for that all-important 5-star review. All right, that's it for today's episode. Remember, this podcast is brought to you in collaboration with Hostfully, which is trusted by short-term rental professionals across the globe. As a Host Planet listener, you get 2 exclusive offers. $500 off onboarding for Hostfully's property management software. Just use the code PLANET500 and 30% off digital guidebooks for life. Use the code HostPlanetGB. To grab these deals, click the link in the show notes or head to hostfully.com. For more free education, tips and trends from the STR industry, visit houseplanet.club, where you can sign up for our newsletter, listen to our podcasts, and download a suite of ebooks for hosts and property managers. That's it for today's episode. Until next time, happy hosting.